Good morning, gentlemen. Just heading to a doctor's appointment and wanted to try to play through some things. I guess I'm going to take the minor topic before I take the major one on, because I want something simple that I can kind of bite-size. All right, so I found a podcast called Deep Talks. Conversations in Metamodernism and sense-making from a Christian perspective. Very, very interesting. I had it on my favorites list, apparently, from who knows how long, and just haven't been listening to it, and by golly, it's really good. He was going through what makes a metamodern hero story. And as he talked, I saw the whole Keegan 5-stage process. And it started sparking what I so wish I could do. Not that I can't, it's just that I won't at this stage in my life. Like, I would have to pause so many things. Like, existentially, I can. Specifically, I can't figure out how to do it in my life right now. I would have to, shore up the flood of so many aspects of my life in order to find the space to build this. And I just don't know how to do that right now. Maybe someday I will get there, and that's certainly my hope. But what I want to do is I want to be able to make, you could call them bubblegum wrapper structures of how to, build your tower, if you will. And what I think the metamodern hero does is show the importance of self-awareness in the process. And so what I want to do real quick is kind of see if I can go through these stages. So there's modernism. Of course, there's lots of stages before that, but there's no real reason to go there, because everything that was before modernism pretty much got subsumed so completely and so long ago that we don't even think about them. We would have to do conscious research and division to figure out what they were. So I'm not worried about that. Modernism is something like, I am right, I am the hero, I will fix this. Something like that. There's high levels of egoic certainty involved. Postmodernism is a kind of egoic response to that, so far as I can tell, which is, your narrative is wrong, and I will show you how. I will dissolve it. Something like that. The problem, the problem with modernism was the arrogance with which it blindly destroyed things unknowingly in its search for being the hero, in its attempt at being the hero. And sometimes those were very minor things, but when you had enough heroes following the same narrative, then you have this tidal wave of actions that create a larger, an ever-growing margin of people suffering in its wake. I think that's the most vital part of why modernism failed. And I don't know that I've heard anybody mention it, or at least not mention it the way I just did. I'm going to have to save that polo. I'll have to save this polo, because that was a really important note that I need to remember. Yes. I'm just going to say it again. The problem with modernism was not the hero itself. The hero story itself is fairly valid. The problem is when that story gets memeified so that it becomes a tidal wave of people flooding the atmosphere, the culture and the infrastructure, such that there is an ever-growing, another key point, ever-growing marginalized people suffering because of that story. That the minor things that were minor in the life of one hero become collectivized into a massive flood of problems. There it is. Nail that down. That's important. All right. So next, we have the postmodernism, which of course tries to dissolve the hero story in order to get rid of that marginalization. Rightly so, but wrong in its attempt to stay acidic and dissolve everything. It's like it became this acid that itself became the next hero myth, and it was aware of that it was doing that. Second huge point, it unknowingly became the next hero myth, creating marginalization. That's not the best way to say it, but that's pretty darn close. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I think there's better ways of saying it. But that's pretty close. So what metamodernism does is recognize the necessity of heroism. That's just what we humans do if we're going to do something. If we're going to do anything in the world, it's the hero myth. That's not true. Well, yeah, in the world. In the family, that's a different myth. But if we walk out of the family to gain resources for the family, doesn't matter if it's the wife and the husband doing that, they're living the hero myth in that situation. If they both come back into the family and then play the mother myth, if you will, the maternal myth, in order to hold the family together, then you have these dual-purpose individuals, which maybe works, maybe doesn't work, depends on the family structure, right? A lot of people are having to do it right now, though, because of the overarching myth we're living under, that the acid of deconstruction left us with. Since postmodernism deconstructed both the hero myth as a masculine story and the feminine myth, Mystique, as the mother holding the family together story, now we both have to do that role, even though we don't have a sufficient story that allows us to do that well. Enter the postmodern hero, and I suppose you could say the postmodern mother, something like that. What this story is the self-critiquing story, the humble story, the I could be wrong as the hero, the I'm noticing what I'm doing wrong and I'm going to try to do better. That self-awareness and importantly, metamodernism doesn't get stuck at the critique of postmodernism. Like, honestly, like in some ways, Jordan Peterson does. What David Shapiro certainly does. What the whole, ironically, very ironically, the whole IDW structure got stuck in a mostly modern myth. Whereas the meta-modern, I mean, it's a new thing, and it hasn't been properly integrated into what the IDW people were doing, which is perhaps one of the reasons they failed. Because they didn't actually give a solution. They just returned to modernism with centrist leanings, right? Which is not a cohesive myth. It doesn't properly tension. All right, so, oh God, this is good. This is really good. Then maybe I'll just stick this on my old YouTube channel. Hi YouTube, I'm sticking this on YouTube. All right, so what the meta-modernist hero does, okay, I said it. They're self-critiquing, they're self-aware. They thus evolve into and they're self-aware of other people, importantly. And so ultimately, right on red after stop. Okay, but not left on red after stop. Okay. Diverging diamond. I'm still trying to integrate how you use using a diverging diamond. So yes, the I guess I'm done. I guess I said it all. I guess I'm done. The self-awareness and the awareness of others, such that you can integrate. There it is. So that you can integrate their findings that are true, including their findings about you, right? And, if they are meta-modern people, rather than getting stuck in the hero myth or the mother myth or any other myth, people, then they can also integrate what you see of them, your critique of them. And you can do so with irony if necessary, but I think with transparency, with radical transparency and self-awareness, and with kindness, basically. I think that's how you have to do it. If you don't have the kindness rolling in there, some way, even if it's like an ironic kindness, maybe, I don't know. But to me, like, that's what works for me, at least. If that kindness isn't somehow included, my skepticism and self-defensiveness rise. Which the self-defensiveness is what? What is that? That is a symptom of my own insecurity. Literally insecure. I'm not founded. Like, my ground is shaky. I'm insecurely grounded. So I have to figure out I'm trying to do that. Like, I'm literally in the process of figuring out the Christian story more fully, because there's a lot of crap in there, a lot of modern crap, and I'll be honest, as much as I love Jordan Peterson, he's continuing a lot of that in some ways. So, okay, that's why I stopped listening to him. I'm just figuring that out because I couldn't take it anymore. And I loved him, but I couldn't take it. But now I understand it. Okay, I've got an appointment to go to, but I've got 15 minutes almost. Okay, good. All right. Should I go into the Christian narrative that I'm working on now? Because that was the big one. That was the bigger one. You know what? I'll break this up. Will I break it? Yeah, I'll just go ahead and break it up.